Iris Redfield. Jill Valentine. Barry Burton. Rebecca Chambers. Albert Wesker. Resident Evil.
Hey, you okay?
Oh, some damn enchiladas.
Oh. You gonna be all right?
Oh.
Can you tell me where I can find a book on astronomy?
Don't you know the Dewey Decimal System?
Conan the Librarian.
I'm sorry. These books are a little overdue.
やめろ！お前らには無理だ！血をもんの悪い！
Oh, look at that over there.
What is it, darling?
I believe they're lesbians. Well, we're British, you see, and where we're from, lesbians don't exist.
Neither does toothpaste.
Or sunshine.
Or good food.
Or sobriety. Yeah.
You gotta get yourself a nice 250-pound dwarf. Well, have an urchin you can hang on to.
We like to breathe the future. Promise broken bones. Promise broken bones. Promise broken
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.
inside this cow.
Hello, everybody out there in YouTube land. This is your T-shirted historian, and welcome to another week in Geek. This has been a little bit easier of a week than last one, obviously, for many reasons. But it's also been kind of a boring week, I would say, overall. I didn't see a whole lot that happened. So we're just kind of going to be building up our news kind of like as we go. Had a few interesting things pop up this week, and oh yeah, we got a guest. We actually got a guest. Some of you guys may know of Gods and Game Masters, or Jack the Giant Killer, as he likes to be known. He has a Twitch stream, I believe, of his own, where he runs a game, and he's got his own world, and he's also a game creator. And hey, I'm happy to have him on. He wanted to come on, and he was actually invited on by Dying Breed, and unfortunately, Dying Breed is in kind of a bad situation right now. Apparently, the area that he lives in was hit with some really bad storms, and it blew out his power, and it's not expected to come up for days. And right now, I'm pretty sure he's probably just trying to stay cool in 90-degree heat. So let's wish my fellow panelist well. And he's also a friend, of course. I know he would have loved to have been here, but circumstances being what they are, you know, I'm glad he's at least able to keep in touch with us to some degree, probably at least until the phone batteries die. But anyway, let's bring in our panel today, huh? Oh, thanks, Gap. Appreciate it. First, we have Ryan David, the infamous.
Hey.
How are you?
Hanging in there. It's been uncharacteristically a busy week, despite what's happening in the sphere. I've been slammed, so hanging in there. That's the best I got right now.
Jeez. We have Mr. Jim of the Grim.
Hello.
And I gotta thank Grim for putting our book out on so many different platforms, because hopefully that means we'll get lots of sales. If not, yeah, he got a proof copy. I ordered mine the same day that I found out it was available, and I still haven't gotten mine yet. But he got his first, which just goes to show you that Lulu must be a lot closer to England than it is to the U.S.
They have different people printing in different countries, which, variable.
Well, it looks pretty good. And if you want to know more about the book, I am probably going to do a review on it, which is a little weird for me to do a review on my own book when it comes in. But if you want a sneak peek, you can always go over to Victor Gorchev's Scrying Dutchman channel and check out the interview he did with me about it, where we talk about it and look through it. So, believe me, despite the title, even if the title offends you, don't let it, because there's lots of really good stuff in there just for general good gaming. And, you know, even if you don't use any of this stuff, or if you don't play Machinations of the Space Princess, there's a lot of stuff in there you could steal and use for your own games, and it'll be great. And I think the guy who might actually want to steal a little bit from it is our guest, Mr. Jack the Giant Killer. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. So Machinations of the Space Princess, that sounds like a sci-fi hack of Lamentations of the Flame Princess?
Yeah, pretty much.
Cool.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, dark and twisted gaming is fun shit.
It's more kind of like metal, heavy metal style.
Yeah. Triggering in a different way to Lamentations, I suppose.
Yeah, so like the old heavy metal magazines and the heavy metal movies.
Yeah.
Very cool stuff.
Yeah, I bet you grew up
Watched
reading that
those
stuff too.
so many times in the midnight movies.
Oh man, and for a long time, the only place you could watch that growing up was HBO for some reason.
I was so bummed. There was a post that went viral online this week with a bunch of the young ones, and they were unable to identify the cabbie scene from Heavy Metal. And I was like, come on, people. Come on.
Wow.
Arthur was his name, I believe. I might be wrong. Someone will correct me if I'm wrong.
People lose track of some of our old and good geek media over time, and they look at what we've got now, and they're like, "Oh, this is all there is." I'm like, "No, there's so much more. So much."
Well,
in my case, geek media goes back thousands of years from my perspective, so I'm a little weird on it.
Well, one of the guys who worked on that movie was Richard Corbin, the late Richard Corbin, I should say. And the funny thing is, I did not know him from his work in Heavy Metal or Den. I knew him because he apparently got the contract to do American covers for the Fighting Fantasy Gamebook series from Britain.
Nice.
So a lot of those covers that Grimm is probably familiar with, I didn't have. I had Richard Corbin covers, which were, I don't know. I mean, I hate to say that they were better. They were different. Because Richard Corbin's art is a lot more, I suppose, kind of heroic, whereas a lot of the original Fighting Fantasy art on those covers seemed like it was a little bit more dark and gritty.
Yeah. It's more characteristic of British role-playing.
Yeah.
I was going to say, British covers are like
WFRP, the difference between Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and Dungeons and Dragons, for instance, with I'm a rat catcher and I've caught 5 diseases today.
And no rats.
Narrowly avoided being killed by the Skaven.
Yeah.
And there was only one of them.
Good times. I love the old stuff. So, all right. You have one of my favorite people on Twitter in your game. Damn if I can't remember. Let me go back.
You talking about Justina?
So, I am Justina.
Yep.
I've been trying to get Justina.
She is at the moment. She is taking a hiatus, so she's not actually part of the AP that we're running right now. But yeah, she was a big part of the very beginning, and she's in the whole first 2 seasons, and she is amazing.
I've been trying to get Justina on this show, on either of my shows, either the Tuesday show or this one, forever now. And every time she gets a commitment to it, something pops up and she has to drop out. And I'm so sad about that. But she is a really awesome person. I love talking to her, both on a spiritual level and a martial artist level and on a gaming level. She's just a really cool person. I
talked to her about pretty much that same list of stuff, and we trade shit back and forth. One of my products on DM's Guild was actually inspired by her and collaborated with her originally, and that's the Eye of the Beholder, Eye of Eternity supplement. Because she had this really cool idea for where beholders came from and what they were, and it was so much deeper and darker. It's not really a spoiler since I have the alternate ecology of beholders on my website for people to read without having to buy the supplement. But basically, her idea was that a beholder is so called because it is the last vestige of sapience from a dying universe. And it was trying basically to use the Schrodinger effect, kind of, and keep observing its universe so its universe would continue to exist. And it's kind of the combination of all the consciousnesses of that universe smashed into one being and then thrown into another universe after its universe dies.
So why are they all megalomaniacal shitheads?
Because they're every thought, they're every being, they're all the bad parts, and the bad parts overwhelm the good parts.
They can't keep it all in, right?
they know that at least parts of them were once gods, and they're trying, to a certain extent, to bring their version of reality back. But that may involve destroying everything. Plus, they have the worst case of multiple personality disorder ever considered.
See, that is so much better than whatever crap that Wizards of the Coast has come up with for them.
Yeah, we actually used the one part of Wizards' idea that I actually like recently was the idea that beholders dream their offspring into existence. Very often they're nightmares, so they're not fond of their offspring. And that is what the jumping off point was for that whole concept. But it was Justina's idea, and we worked on the supplement together, and it kind of got me started on my whole alternate ecology series, which is different lore and changed creatures for Dungeons and Dragons, monster books, and different explanations of how they work. It ended up, for a lot of the alternate ecologies, not counting like dragons and werewolves, which I also have out, but like all of the aberrations end up having some crazy ass shit tied together. Because in my other supplement, Spawn of Chaos, I talk about a cosmology that explains where all aberrations come from, basically. Ties it all together, a new way of looking at what Wizards calls the far realm.
Mm-hmm.
Which I refer to as chaos with a K, or the dark outside.
That
basically
exists in the warp.
Right. Basically, it's everything outside of creation, right? And each creation, each individual world is a separate universe and or multiverse. And it has its own gods. But those gods, according to this overarching idea, basically all just popped up in chaos, in the true chaos of everything and nothing that existed, and took parts of it to make their creation, their world. And all of the universes and multiverses and so on are kind of floating in that. It's not a void because it's something, but it's kind of a void because it's also nothing. And it has no time. But the creatures that lived, will live, have lived, are living there are not super happy with these petty little gods taking bits of their existence and making discrete, orderly worlds out of them.
Yeah, you're gonna have to post up your links for your DM's Guild stuff and your game site where your Twitch stream. You can do that in the chat. You can do it in the private chat, and we'll post it up for you in the main.
Cool. Yeah, that's just one of the things. I also publish like some supplements for the world that I run the AP in, the Successor States of Rhaegar, and probably the two that I'm really proud of right now, my most recent ones, are something called the Canon of the Void, which doesn't use, it's on drive-through. It doesn't use any of the Wizards of the Coast IP, but it takes the idea of the outer chaos and the eldritch entities that live there to another level, and then creates a whole bunch of monsters and undead and cultists for a full cult to throw into your games. Like the quote I like to use for these two supplements is beginning to BBEG. So you can add them to your whole campaign. And the other one is the Fomor Folio, which is Celtic-based monsters from Irish, Scottish, and Welsh myth.
Oh yeah,
translated into a single idea based on the old Fomor host when they invaded Ireland back at the dawn of time or whatever. And basically taking anything that might be unseelie fae or evil Celtic monsters and putting them all into this one group with a framework of a way to use them in any of your worlds, even if they're not Celtic-based worlds.
Nice. That's pretty cool, actually. Let's see.
Yeah, so I'm gonna throw some of these links up here for you since you asked.
Sure.
While I'm doing that, y'all talk about something else. My voice is getting real hoarse.
I was about to say, yeah, you sound like you need a throat lozenge or something, my man.
I sound like this about half the time.
Okay. Well, inspired by the community's well, I mean, they're actually been pretty welcoming about me putting out the Sex Bots book with Grimm, and so I've actually started work on another supplement, and I was halfway, kind of partially through it, and then a new idea hit me, and of course, Brain, being the way it is, Brain said, "You know what? Let's work on this other idea too." So now I have 2 complete things that I'm juggling and working between, and I'm trying to put in a couple of hours every day on each one of them just to kind of keep them both moving. I couldn't tell you which one is going to get out before the other one, but they're both based on ideas that hit me recently and probably the result of watching way too much anime. But don't worry, it won't be, tentacles and schoolgirls or anything weird like that.
Aww.
Boo.
I know.
Well, sometimes you got to make stuff about things other than hentai.
Lies and treason.
I'm good at treason.
Okay,
and
I'm an ungrateful colonial.
All right, here are the links to the Judges Guild site and the YouTube channel, so you guys can check out more of Jack's gaming stuff. Mercurius, no, not Mecha, although that's an idea too. I may have to come up with a mecha book for machinations. That might be kind of fun. Although, God knows, I mean, I've never really seen mecha done well in a TTRPG.
Yeah, a lot of them have tried, but it is super hard to get that balance between something playable and something that expresses how these 100-ton machines function on a battlefield in the same setting where you have people.
My Tuesday group really, really, really wanted to play something mecha, and we went through all of the big names that are out there, and none of them were like ready for prime time. Even like the big guys, right? It just, there's something missing. We definitely need, do it, T. We need something good that attacks mecha, and I'm not doing Everyday Heroes.
I haven't played a whole lot of them, but I've heard like some people say Lancer is good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird one, Lancer. It kind of tries to present itself as a generic mecha RPG, but then the implicit setting is so strong it might as well be explicit, and it's very schizophrenic. There is the role-playing part on one side, and there is the mecha combat part on the other side, and they're really like two different games. Whereas, I mean, I mentioned Heavy Gear. I think the Silhouette system, Heavy Gear, Jovian Chronicles, Gear Krieg, that works really well as a transition from role-playing scale to mecha scale. That, as far as I know, and I've experienced, that is the best game that really scales all those different levels. The system's built with that in mind. I did back the new edition. I don't know whether it's going to be any good. The artwork's a bit lacking, judging from the Kickstarter.
I used, a long time ago, I used to enjoy BattleTech, but like Mech Warrior, their role-playing system was not super good and didn't dovetail with their own work very well. The setting is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And interesting. Like most of the stuff that FASA did. But yeah, they kind of fell down on the job for the role-playing aspect.
I agree.
Mechton's okay.
Yeah, Mechton's okay.
Mechton's okay if you're going for specifically anime mechs.
Yeah.
But like BattleTech is the opposite of that. It's much more, I guess, as gritty and realistic as you can get when it comes to mecha.
I mean, if you're going for that anime feel, I often find that more narrative-based games work better. Something like Fate, if you use like Star Blazer Adventures, something like that.
And there's a Mecha versus Kaiju Fate supplement. and some other things. I haven't tried it yet, but I've been considering it.
Yeah.
Well, the problem inherently becomes one of how important are your characters if they're going to be jumping in mechs and running around all the time. The other problem tends to be how do you relate mech combat versus people combat? I mean, can a guy with a 357 go out and shoot holes in your mech?
No, you have to have one of those massive anime revolvers that only have 3 bullets to hurt
Exactly.
mechs.
Yeah. Yeah, if it's got something like anti-tank rounds, maybe.
That's really the synergy that just is missing. What about the character when in the mech makes that combination magic? And I can't
it
find
can't
it.
just be a piloting. Yeah, it cannot just be a piloting skill role because then
Right. There has to be some sort of, like I said, synergy between the build for the human that's driving the mech and the build for the mech. And
I think one of the ways to handle that might be taking a page from old Robotech, the concept, not necessarily the Palladium game. Although the Palladium game handled some of these things really well before they got into the more modern iterations. The idea of proto-culture and the mind-body interface, the same way they use in Pacific Rim, so that the physical combat abilities and accuracy of the pilot translate directly into the control of the mech. Rather than it just being piloting, you have them, it taps into their proprioception and their kinesthesia and the rest of that so that the mech can move around like a person.
Well, then I may have found a solution kind of unwittingly when I wrote the Sexbots book, because in that book I came up with the remote control units and the whole harness system that allows you to run around in an android body remotely. And the fact that the feedback from it can kill your character or at least reduce them to a vegetative state if they take too much damage.
Right. It's just like riggers in Shadowrun or whatever, right? It's just that in the case of the mech, you either might be remote or in order to avoid being hacked, you're inside the mech piloting it. But the control systems would still be the same with a full neural interface. And if you have that, then the individual, the character, obviously matters a lot more than just somebody pulling joysticks.
Yeah. There's been some games that have tried to take what happens when you're outside the mech, like your interpersonal stuff, and then during all that, like, you get involved in all kinds of drama and nonsense, like happens in anime, right? And then that gives you points that you can then channel into your mech abilities and so on. So, like, I think Bliss Stage did that. That was an indie darling a while back, a bit controversial. I think this game, Convictor Drive, that I've backed, your character's sort of strength of will and convictions obviously helps empower the mech. So that might be a way to go about it.
Nice.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense if, you assume that the mech is something like a Green Lantern ring in that it's powered by will, right? Like the strength of your mech and the strength of its systems are directly tied to your will. But then you're kind of getting into you're definitely getting into a sci-fi level where it's verging on science fantasy, if not fully into it. Not that that's wrong. Just, be clear where your lines are, depending on who you want to appeal to for the system. That could be quite interesting, actually.
Caster, how come you're not on the show? Where are you? You're supposed to be in here. So Thoth, for that matter. I give him shit for that every week.
I always thought for Machinations, if I was going to do a mecha supplement, I'd take a page from an old comic strip called Sex Warrior, where there were like these superhuman warriors who basically charged up their orgone energy by having lots of sex and partying, and then that unleashed their abilities to destroy the enemy. So that's
legit. That's legit.
That's very Machinations.
It's a very Machinations concept, yeah.
I mean, it is the primary drive of the human species and almost all other living things. So it makes sense that you should be able to turn it into some kind of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I would want to do it a little bit more seriously, but then let Grim throw in like the more Metal Hurlant style goofiness because it's fun. Nice thing about the book that I just put out is hopefully it's going to be selling Jim some more copies of Machinations of the Space Princess in order to use it.
I know it has already. So
cool. Yeah, I think the best mix for role playing, just thinking about it, is a good mix of heavy, dark, serious, even nasty ass stuff, right?
Yeah.
With humor.
I agree.
Because if you don't have the goofiness in there somewhere, then the darkness gets overwhelming, right? As an example in media, when they came out with the new Battlestar Galactica, for me that's new. I realize it's old for normal. I watched it for a while, but it got so unrelentingly dark with no real let up that I was like, I lost interest because we had no hope,
Well, the ending was such a letdown. I was just kind of like, seriously?
Yeah. Oh, I hated that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even get that far, but I heard about it. And I was so happy about the beginning of the series, right? But
if you made it to the planet, you saw the best of the series. So
pretty much.
Yeah. And no robot Daggett.
Yeah, no robot Daggett.
That's the deal breaker.
That's legit. If the lack of the robot dog did almost keep me from watching it to start.
It's like Buck Rogers without Tweaky. It's just
Oh God, no!
Tweaky was the best.
Up yours, Buck.
We did that. We did that in rolling. Fuck you, Buck. Something kind of in the same wheelhouse, but not quite the same thing, is this little thing that came out on Kickstarter. It's actually still pretty well into Kickstarter, so you can enjoy it if you haven't already subbed to it.
No, that's us.
This?
No, you showed us in the infinity pool of.
Yeah. But we're on the right page now, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. I was afraid of that. Yeah. So this is on Kickstarter. It just came out. Actually, it's still got 11 days to go. It's called Wasted Lands: The Dreaming Age role-playing game, and it's a tabletop RPG of cosmic horror, swords and sorcery in a savage, lost epoch where you play out the birth of the gods of ancient myth. And
that sounds pretty cool.
Actually, yeah, it's by Jason Vey, one of the guys from Castles and Crusades, and because we hit enough of the stretch goals, he is also going to introduce full compatibility with Castles and Crusades. So
nice.
Yeah, because it's an ogre's conversion. It's a night shift game type thing, but it's also going to be for Castles and Crusades apparently.
Yeah,
cool.
As you could probably tell, both from what I've been talking about and my friendship with Justina, horror and especially cosmic horror are a big fun playground for me. I like to take them in different directions than people expect. So this kind of sounds like my wheelhouse, definitely.
And here is his conversion guide.
Some of Brad's stock art.
Yeah. I'm assuming that the actual book itself is going to have all new art, since the covers look pretty new. But yeah. That's their conversion thingy. You can always check that out on their screen. Yeah. Funded, Siege Engine conversion. There you go. That's what it is. It's going to have Siege Engine conversion. So you'll be able to use it with Castles and Crusades or with the new what the heck was it? Their modern game. I forget the name, but
it's not Amazing Engine, is it?
Yeah, it is Amazing Engine. Yeah.
Yay, Brain, you got one.
Yeah.
Have some caffeine to celebrate.
Yeah, my caffeine hasn't kicked in yet, but it looks pretty good. And I got sent a little sample since I backed it. I'm one of the 124. It still hasn't hit its pledge goal yet, so he's still about 8,000 in the hole. But let me see. I'll bring up what I have. I got sent this non-human species sample from it. Let me take a look at that real quick. I'm sure Jason won't mind us taking a look at his stuff since he's trying to get it across. But yeah, he's got this preview. How to use the non-human species, XP cost. We got dwarves. It seems to be fairly familiar with the terminology. 'Cause you got your vitality dice, which is like hit points or hit dice, and
the toughness saves makes me think of Mutants and Masterminds, which takes the damage component of a game and reduces it to, again, a saving throw. Like how much damage you take is based on how well you did on your toughness save, rather than based on taking off hit points.
Mm-hmm. They have their abilities here: resist magic and poison, which is kind of, your typical dark sight, vibration sense.
That vibration sense goes a little further than a lot of dwarves, but I like it.
Yeah.
It's funny. I actually gave that via feats to one of the characters in a Pathfinder game I'm running.
Well, the new 5.5 or whatever they're going to call the new Dungeons and Dragons, that is actually supposed to not be new, but it is new. Their dwarves or their gnomes, I think, also have some form of vibration or dragon sense to where they can sense things. So I think that's why he's kind of keeping up with the Joneses on that.
Yeah, it's not the worst thing. I'm not gonna keep following WotC's train in that regard.
Yeah,
they're just they put out subpar stuff. They make us pay extra money for it, and they're jerks. So.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's some great creators with them. There's some great individual people. But corporate America, what you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. And, of course, here's the one everybody wants to see is the elves, the graceful, stunningly beautiful species with the ethereal aura. So apparently they have alertness because, America needs more alerts.
Be aware we have enough alerts.
Yes. They can apparently cast spells already. They have enchantment immunities, which is kind of like your typical elf, heightened senses. They have a stealth ability. I like the fact that they differentiate elves as being from 5 to 7 feet tall. Because that's something that always irritated me about old D&D was the fact that their elves were short and tiny. And I guess that was to remove them from Tolkien.
Probably. I don't know. It's like everything we based elves on was not small. Whereas fairy, it's that weird ass combination of elves and fairies that goes on because they're not exactly the same thing, but they're in the same overall genre of creature and Heck, for the North, there wasn't even really a distinction between elves and dwarves or a specific connotation that dwarves were small.
Mm-hmm.
Or that giants were big for that matter, but I'm not going into that right now.
I always thought that the older D&D was drawing more on things like ElfQuest for their original elves.
They predate...
ElfQuest was what, 78?
Yeah.
Yeah, D&D predates ElfQuest by like 5 years.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this yesterday myself, actually. I think what a lot of people don't want to admit, or either they haven't made the connection, or if they've made the connection, they've been pretty quiet about it, is the fact that no matter which way you slice it, I mean, the main difference between Arneson's Blackmoor and Gygax's D&D, or OD&D, is the fact that Gygax more or less based his stuff pretty much on Tolkien and Lord of the Rings. I mean, almost to a fault.
And hated to admit it, and always claimed that there were other factors that were much bigger. Don't get me wrong, you can also see the influence to a certain extent of Moorcock and the perspective of Law and Chaos that exists in the original OD&D, you can see the perspective of Poul Anderson's Three Hearts and Three Lions, and the introduction of trolls is the Three Hearts and the Three Lions troll. But so much of it is Tolkien, and just changed enough to try to get away with it. Like they legit called them hobbits in the first books.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is look at your basic race tropes. You had humans, elves, dwarves, and halflings, which is kind of like that's Tolkien.
And then in AD&D they threw in half orcs, which are also Tolkien.
Yeah,
and orcs as the primary. What's that?
I said I don't know where gnomes came from, but
gnomes actually show up in Three Hearts and Three Lions.
Okay, so that's not a Tolkien thing, but
yeah, that's Poul Anderson.
Yeah,
and it's interesting because gnomes and halflings really are in many ways just a little bit off the same concept.
Yeah,
and a lot of the time I only use one or the other in a game in a setting.
I've said this for years, and I've said it to Grim more than once. I think gnomes shouldn't exist because they've kind of like lost whatever utility they. I mean, to me, they always kind of felt like just smaller versions of dwarves.
Yeah, they're in a strange place between dwarves and halflings. In Tales of the Valiant, which is Kobold Press's thing that they're coming out with as an alternative to WotC's version of 5e, they've just combined gnomes and halflings into the same species as subraces.
Oh, and look, they have half elves, so they're being very daring. The fact that they're actually having a half race, it's so risque and edgy in this modern day and age to have a half race.
What's really interesting again is as a mixed person myself, extraordinarily mixed, Scots, Irish, Cherokee, Choctaw, Seminole, and the other mixed race people I know, nobody's offended by the idea of a half elf or whatever. In a lot of cases, we mixed people prefer like playing half orcs and half elves and that sort of thing. It's really just a matter of treating any lineage with some kind of flexibility, right?
I saw
not pigeonholing everything.
And we have our other Indian here.
How are you guys doing?
That's you, bud.
I was just gonna say, so we had the 5th edition of Vampire, mixed reception. The new version of Werewolf came out a while back, but they've gotten rid of the Metis, which were the inbred ones. When two werewolves, two Garou, mate and have a child, it's always born with some kind of deformity or problem or madness or whatever. Apparently they've gotten rid of that because it's too problematic and the term is too problematic. But I think it does refer to someone who's a mixed breed, native Canadian and a mix with settlers. So
yes, yeah, the Métis or Métis name is the Canadian name for people who are mixed.
Yeah. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense, and it's really looked down on in Garou society, so it makes sense to use a slur to refer to those. But they seem to have pussied out on carrying that through.
To a certain extent, but there's also this really big thing, having played a lot of Werewolf in LARP, as well as tabletop back in the day. One of the things that ended up being a difficulty is if everybody in a game is playing werewolves and half of your people are, half of your players are women, and there are romance subplots going on, people don't actually want that romance to be forbidden. They don't want that, oh, this is horrible, don't ever do it. Mostly they didn't want to play that. Now, I had a lot of fun playing the forbidden romance. I actually ended up with one of my partners that way, but most people want it to have their romance in a game like that without having this huge judgment on them that detracts from their enjoyment.
Yeah.
And so I can see why they would want to go that direction. Yeah. Also, it never really made any sense to me. Why would breeding true? Why would two werewolves breeding make a less capable werewolf?
Yeah.
I have a whole setting that's entirely different from White Wolf, more mythologically based, and that's one of the standard ways to get a werewolf is to have two werewolf parents.
Well, I can kind of see why it would make a weaker. It's the same thing when you have like dog breeds. Like if you have the same breed of dog and they're always interbreeding, and it's always a line of breeding, like German shepherds and stuff like that. You develop genetic instabilities in the line, like hip dysplasia and things like that.
Sure, but we're talking about worldwide. We're talking about worldwide werewolves, right? So there's plenty of genetic diversity even amongst the werewolf population.
Apparently not. I mean, that's the thing. It's like the humans apparently introduced that Heinz 57 mix that allows for a better, stronger breed of werewolf, in the same way that if you have mutts are more powerful than a regular
hybrid figure.
In general. Oh yeah, if you want to go, and also if you want to get into the hybrid species trope in fantasy and science fiction, a hybrid is always more powerful than either of the two sources. I mean, you look at Star Trek, the half Klingon, the half Vulcan, the half whatever are stronger than either a human or their other species.
Blade the Daywalker.
Right.
I'm just stuck imagining a female werewolf in labor, and like the father faints and the midwife holds up a pug.
That is entirely the sort of thing that could happen with the Bone Gnars tribe, at least in old.
Yeah.
One of my characters in Old Werewolf was actually his dad was a full-blooded Wendigo. Now they've gotten rid of that tribal terminology for some very good reasons, having to do with that's actually a specific place where the people whose tribe it came from have asked people not to use that word.
That was the Uktena as well. They were the other spirits.
Uktena, yeah.
Now the word Uktena is not in itself offensive to Southeast Native Americans like myself, but it does mean a horrific monster that is the opponent of the people, so it's a weird choice for the werewolf tribe that protects them.
Yeah. Especially, they were kind of fluffy, but yeah.
Right. So my character was his father was a full-blooded pure breed Wendigo chief, right? But he fell in love with a Nikita. So I ended up being a Bone Gnar.
Oh well, can't stop the course of love. What can I say?
These things happen.
Yeah, these things happen.
The character's deed name was Too Stupid to Run.
I have a tiny bit of show and tell that might be a little bit controversial. Yeah, because when I ordered this, I was not aware of the problems that Till Lindemann was having. But I wouldn't have cared anyway, because you know what? I'm a Rammstein fan anyway, so fuck them. But this just arrived at my place just before the stream actually started. Actually, it showed up in our intro, during our intro. But this is the Sehnsucht 35th anniversary edition of the album with everything in it, and I haven't even opened it yet. So
anniversary edition. That makes me feel so old, T.
I know, doesn't it?
Careful you open that. You're gonna scratch it.
I might. This thing looks like it's easily scratched too, since it's all silver.
I'm actually willing to bet. Now, Grim may be older than me, but I'm willing to bet I'm the oldest guy on this stream.
Well, I'm going to be 50 next month.
Oh, you are actually slightly ahead of me. I turned 50 in January.
All right.
I've got a couple of years yet. So clearly I've been living hard lately.
Yeah, I think Castor's the youngest here.
Yeah, it's the...
3.
Yeah.
In my case, it's the extra little bit of melanin and the extra adipose tissue under the skin, preventing my wrinkles from showing as much.
Nice way of putting it.
It's not the years, it's the mileage.
I'm not going to get into my mileage. I'm just saying. I was in the military during Bosnia, so.
Oh, wow. Obviously, these were like unused covers, I think, from the original.
They are pretty
good
cool.
reason.
Did they do a vinyl release for insane people like me?
Probably. I don't know. I always buy CDs because my car old. That
See, the
and
vinyl
physical
reference
media.
The vinyl reference takes me back to, something that probably many of your viewers are very familiar with, given your icon, your avatar. Brings me back to how common and popular vinyl is in cyberpunk.
Yeah. Isn't it funny? Oh, and here's the actual.
That's because that's why the only medium where the music sounds best. I mean, we're not gonna get into it here today. I'm just saying, cyberpunk knows what it's doing in some aspects.
Okay, so I see you have a distinct opinion. I'm not going to say you're right. I am not going to say you're right or wrong.
You can.
I feel that music sounds best played live.
Fair. I own that one. You got me there.
The only thing I miss about vinyl is having the large, album covers and proper sleeve notes.
Them? Yeah. The thing I miss about vinyl and CDs is owning physical copies of my media. So that they can't be taken away from me by the corporation just by going, no, you don't have this anymore.
He says, I had that in my hands at the Rammstein concert merch stand. Yeah, you just went to go see Rammstein. And what were you doing with my album in your hands? Does this mean that you sent it to me?
I have to send it back. It's got his cooties all over it now.
Yeah. We licked it, therefore it's his.
Yeah, my car doesn't have vinyl record player. Yeah, it's not.
I don't think any
you
car
might have a vinyl record player, but you don't have the money to pay for the suspension to be able to listen to the vinyl record player in motion.
Like,
I don't think any cars have had vinyl players since they had fins.
I mean, if we had like hover cars, maybe it would work.
Well, then I can bless an 8-track for your car then.
I do have an 8-track player in my garage, and I actually have.
Your car.
I actually have. Oh, not in the car. I had an 8-track player in my first car, but
does it still work? Is the question.
It's funny
I'm
because
not anymore. But
8-tracks and Betamax both were in many ways superior technology to the things we went with.
Yeah, well, you know what I still have on 8-track to play in that player?
Alvin and the Chipmunks.
No, Kiss. The original Kiss album.
Oh, okay.
The original Kiss album with Black Diamond on it, 10,000 years or 100,000 years. Back when Kiss was good.
I
Before
hear
there were extras in Scooby Doo.
some account on Twitter today advertising like a movie limited edition on VHS.
Well, any way you can market it, right, Cass?
Yeah, good luck getting people to buy, a whole lot of people to buy that one. There could be a few.
Maybe if they give you a player with it.
Well, that's the thing, Jim. Now the players are so expensive. I have a friend that does vintage media conversions to digital. He owns a store and does that for a gig. And we were talking this week just to how expensive it is. What used to be about a $600 commercial unit is now almost $3,000 for VHS just because of the limited production that they're in now.
Holy crap.
Those guys are buying high-end consumer units at like garage sales because the performance is generally the same, and scooping them up hand over fist, and you can actually sell them for a decent turn now just because they're not available.
Jeez. Oh man. What?
Oh.
There's that silence that we have once a week.
Anyone?
Anyone? if anybody's interested, like on my website, back into the whole cyberpunk thing. I was talking about this before we got actually into going live. I have a little article which is an intro into a pretty nasty, dark, and dystopian cyberpunk setting I'm working on. I don't know which system I'm using yet. It may be a house system that I'm working on. I don't know. Called Atlantis 2150. And it's set up on this island that was built from scratch and owned by 9 big corporations, and they have enclaves, and then there's this like Fallout style wasteland in between them with just shanty towns and crap. Really dark. Anywho.
Favelas.
Yep.
They became their own government sort of thing.
Yep.
Did I drive Grim off?
No, I don't think so. I think he probably had something he had to do really quick, but yeah, we likes the cyberpunk stuff. Let's see. Oh, Grim says his meds are messing with him. So let me punch this up here for everybody to check out. Another link. We have so many links today, guys.
Well, I have a whole lot of stuff going on, so it's a thing. Sorry about that, guys, if I'm spamming you.
Nah.
There are so many. This could be a Legend of Zelda sequel.
Jesus. Speaking of Legend of Zelda, yeah, the Steam summer sale ended, and as usual, I came away poorer than when it first started. But in a way, I also came away richer because I came away with a lot of games that I was looking at. I didn't get any of the big ones. I didn't get Resident Evil 4. I didn't get Dead Space Remake, which I wanted, but they weren't discounted significantly enough for me to want to buy them.
I got Persona.
Oh, you got which one? There's several Personas. Which one?
I think I picked up Persona 5.
Oh, okay. What'd you get, Ryan?
I almost pulled the trigger on that. I didn't. I bought a bunch of little indie city builders. That was like my thing, the Steam sale. So I got the Wandering Village where you build the village on the back of the giant thing.
I kickstarted that, so I already had it. Golly, that thing is hard, man.
I got the beavers because beavers, Timberborn, but it's really solid. It's still technically in early access. Terra Nil I played for a little bit. That's fun. What else did I pick up? Finally got my Streets of Rage 4, as you know.
Yeah, well, we got to whoop some ass on that together.
Yeah. Finally, and when I bought it, I was just so worked up in a tizzy because I was waiting for it to go back on sale that I forgot to buy the bundle. So I had to go and buy the DLC separate. So they got an extra $1 out of me.
Well, you got Shiva and everybody now.
But did you buy Game of the Year, Power Wash Simulator?
Oh.
No, I don't like work. Not real work.
Sounds too much like work.
Look. This has been it's an addicting game. Like I'm just gonna sit there, I'm just gonna power wash like a circus. I'm gonna go power wash apparently SpongeBob's house and some of the new DLC.
Well, I
go power wash Cloud's motorcycle from Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. There's a decent
uh,
Humble bundle that just dropped a couple days ago. If you guys didn't see that,
I'd like to power wash Lara Croft's outfit, the blue shiny one that's made of latex, apparently.
With your tongue.
Yeah, with my tongue. I'm serious. It's like, can you imagine how that thing smells after she gets done with an adventure?
Yikes!
You're gonna have to wash it if I'm gonna.
Yeah, there are definitely some very unreasonable clothing choices for heroic types in all sorts of games.
Oh yeah,
and many of them are vinyl, which makes for better records than it does clothes.
Yeah, I mean, while I do appreciate and love a woman in vinyl or latex, at the same time, I just can't help but feel sad for her afterward because I'm kind of like,
right.
I bet she hits the shower immediately.
The visual is super nice. The rest of the things that go with it, not as much.
Oh yeah.
Head to toe baby powder. I mean, that's all I got to say, right?
To be fair,
Actually,
you have
I
to
actually
do
heard
something similar with leather most of the time.
I've heard that most of them, it's not so much baby powder. It's baby powder in some of them, but some others, they use actual water. They wet themselves down before they put that stuff on.
Oh, I had a chick that was very into vinyl when she cosplayed at one time, and she had like it was the strangest thing. You walked into the kitchen. What are you doing? Making my powder. And what was the powder? It was cornstarch, flour, and baby powder in like precise measurements. I was like, all right.
Yeah, I can understand why. Well, Kate Beckinsale, when she was interviewed about the Underworld series, that outfit that she put on, she said it was rubber. It was all rubber. She said, yeah, I'd roll this whole thing on like a big condom because it's how I smelled after it came off at the end of the day because it was all baby powdered and shit on the inside. So
right.
But goddamn, it didn't look nuts on her.
Most of the leather outfits that we see are in fact rubber. Of some kind.
That suits me. But let's see, what did I get? I got Take Me to the Dungeon, which was I'm not gonna talk a whole lot about that one, but it's a hentai. I
was gonna say I know what kind of game that is.
I bet you do. I got Terraria because it was only like $3, and
I've had that for years and never played it. Never played it.
It's hard as hell.
If you like that, you might also like the sci-fi version, Starfield.
I have Starbound.
No, Starbound, that's it.
Yeah, I have had that one for years and years and years, but I never got Terraria. So, but yeah, Terraria is hard.
I got Elden Ring.
Yeah, you got Elden Ring. We need to play together.
Yes, of course. I need to figure out how to get out of this cave because like the giant like old men covered in crystals keep killing me, and then like a giant centipede shows up and rapes my booty.
Oh, I know that one. Yeah. Yeah, you're gonna have to you got to get good, bud. You're just gonna get good.
I gotta make sense of those controls because they are. It is just not working for me intuitively. I gotta learn how to like apparently hold a controller again.
Yeah, you do. You gotta learn how to use those trigger buttons.
And then I also picked up Dragon Age Inquisition.
Oh, I never did finish that one because I got so damn bored with it because by the time you actually get your headquarters and everything set up and you start seeing what your throne is going to look like and it tells you, oh yeah, if you keep doing all these missions and stuff, everything will get bigger and you'll get to add more stuff. At that point I said, this is going to take a fucking year or two to finish because of all the shit they put in this. I don't know if I'm really committed to this or not.
I've actually been playing a lot of Dragon Age Inquisition in between Cyberpunk 2077 this week, and I'm making a lot of progress actually. So there's a lot of deep lore, and there's a lot of cool storylines. So
Yeah, I just think the first one was perfect. Absolutely, like one of the most perfect role playing games ever.
Oh yeah, no, I love Origins.
Yeah, Origins was the best. Even the follow-up to it was pretty good. But 2 was like derp, 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 derp.
I've heard it had decent lore and story, but the problem was it was so linear and they reused all the maps, and I just couldn't get into it.
Oh yeah, it was trash.
9 out of 10.
It's a what?
Didn't IGN give it like a 9 out of 10?
Yeah, well, we know who the paid shills are.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see, what else did I get? I got Chained Echoes, which is a JRPG with mechs and stuff. So that has potential. I did get one that's super duper fun though. It's an old ass game called Sleeping Dogs, where you play like this undercover cop in Hong Kong, and you have to infiltrate the triads and
that's a lot of fun
from the inside. It's super fun, man. You run around.
Basically a John Woo game.
Basically, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's super duper fun, and it was only like $4 or $5, so like just jumped all over that shit. I got Cultic, which is old school style shooter, which actually kind of has more in common with other games than it does with Blood, which a lot of people say, "Oh, it's like Blood." I'm like, not really. I mean, it's the same era, I guess.
Is it anything like Hexen or those?
Yeah, it is. It's from id Software.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very old school shooter-ish. It even looks like it has pixelated graphics and stuff. It's fun. I got Midnight Fight Express.
Shooters is kind of a big comeback genre right now.
Yeah, well, people want to take their rage and aggression out on everything. I mean, look at poor Grim. Doesn't he look like somebody who needs to play a shooter?
Probably.
Yeah. But I got Midnight Fight Express, which is really fun because it's all about kicking people's asses, and it was done by one Hungarian or Polish father who built the whole thing.
So, speaking of shooters, did you guys happen to catch the news with Activision this week? Or rather the Microsoft deal being kind of dealt with?
I did, but for non-nerdy reasons, for money reasons, right?
Yeah, so apparently what Microsoft is going to be able to buy Activision?
Yes.
Is that right? Blizzard? So they're going to own Bethesda, they're going to own Activision Blizzard. Who else do they have? Well, they bought Bungie a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, it's also King. It was the other company from the three.
Mm-hmm.
Which is really just mobile games. Doesn't really matter to us ultimately, but
that's King money. That's Candy Crush.
Candy Crush.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, from the perspective of the financial side of gaming, that's big because Candy Crush is just a money printer.
Now it's possible that decision could get appealed because Microsoft is going to end up getting a monopoly.
So Bungie belongs to Sony now.
Do they?
Bungie does.
Yeah. Bungie belongs to Sony now. Halo belongs to 343, which belongs to Microsoft.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm behind the times.
And apparently on the Halo front, I think they were coming out and saying that due to recent performances of the games, Halo's not going to unless the next game does well, it won't be a mainstay franchise anymore.
Yeah, no, they decided a lot of the shooters are having this issue. From my perspective, part of the issue is they're straying away from being shooters. They're going into adding platforming, adding puzzles, adding all these other elements that are detracting from the shooter experience. Like, I want to play a sci-fi or fantasy shooter. I want to play a sci-fi or fantasy shooter. I'm not trying to play a recreation of some side-scrolling platformer thing in a shooter. I want to play a sci-fi or fantasy shooter.
Yep.
That was an echo.
Yeah, it was big time. I would say if you're looking for that, get Trepang too. That one is super duper fun. Well, it's actually Trepang squared. It's a funny name. I don't know what the deal is with that, but yeah, basically it's kind of like the spiritual successor to To what? Am I hearing an echo?
Maybe.
Okay.
So, from my perspective, they added in the grapple gun in Halo, and they made all these other things going on for mobility and parkouring in Halo. And every time I turn around, there's more platforming and jumping and puzzles all over Destiny. And I'm like, I just want to shoot alien bad guys. The plot and the lore are cool, but why I gotta fall to my death 1,000 times?
Yep. Trepang Squared is it's like a spiritual successor to the Fear series, because you play another super soldier with the ability to slow down time and do amazing shit like that. But you can dual wield grenade launchers and shit eventually. I mean, how much fun is that? It's hard as hell, but it's hard as hell, but it is super fun.
I have new appreciation for Far Cry and the whole Far Cry series because they haven't strayed from their formula. Nope. They get a lot of crap for sticking to it, but they're not changing it up because it isn't broken. So I just went back through and played Far Cry 5 and I forget what the follow up to it was, but it was, for what it is, it's great. You know.
Yeah.
I still haven't pulled the trigger on 6.
I'm also super tired of games as a service.
Oh yeah. Yes.
I just give me a game, let it be multiplayer even. Oh God, how crazy it would be to have multiplayer Fallout that isn't MMO.
Yes.
And put a price tag on it.
Skyrim that isn't MMO.
If you want $110 at the end of the day for your whole package, charge $110 at the end of the day for the whole package and be done.
Yeah.
Right. And then just let us buy that and be done.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to be online to play the game I paid you for. Like Diablo 4 now.
Yeah. I was trying to say, it's like, I bought Diablo 4 like about 3 or 4 weeks ago, and I think I have maybe a total of 2.5 hours of playtime on it. Because the Steam sale came on right afterward, and it was just like, oh shit. So yeah, right. Just continuing my list of things that I picked up. I got V Rising, which that's, you know, my jury is out on that one as to how much I like it. At Ironcaster's suggestion, I did pick up Dead Cells, and that's pretty fun. I gotta admit.
You know, that was one. That's one that Bruce Lombardo has been really like kind of talking to me about.
Mm-hmm.
And I do need to get back to that. Honestly, I picked it up because it had that Castlevania DLC, and that's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, the Castlevania DLC is fun. I did pick up Grand Blue Fantasy Versus because I thought, oh, $4 for a fighting game? That sounds cool. And then I found out it is $4 for a fighting game, but there's about like 8 or 9 characters that are locked behind a paywall. So you got to pay an additional $14 if you want to unlock all those. And I'm just like, well, fuck you then. But, you know, that's the way it goes. And then I picked up a different fighter called Chaos Code for $4. And guess what? All the fighters are unlocked to begin with. So it's like,
wait,
you know,
that doesn't sound real.
I know.
I kind of like the idea, though, of having to actually earn your stuff in these games. Like, I remember years and years ago renting like Marvel vs. Capcom 2, and then you would just have to like earn the coins to be able to buy better. It's like there's an actual like incentive to keep playing.
Well,
yeah, no, buying cool stuff with in-game currency that you get by playing the game is a neat loop.
I don't like that as much as I like the Tekken method, which was the old Tekken 2 method. Was it had a whole bunch of characters that you didn't see, but the only way to unlock them was to play through the story mode of the character that character was opposing. So
what about 3?
Yeah, that's still kind of the same basic idea, though, is that you're unlocking additional content by engaging with the content.
All right. Tekken 3, God, man, it's been such a long time, but I remember that one was annoying to me for some reason, and I don't know why. I think it's because of the Gon was annoying.
You mean like the best fighter in the game?
Yeah, and Dr. Boskanovich, because you had to work so damn hard to get both of those characters, and they were just kind of a joke. But got Anno Mutationonum. I wish Greg had been on, because I was going to tell him about Terror of Hemosaurus, which is basically like a spiritual successor to Rampage with multiplayer and a storyline. And then the Steam sale ended this week. And then yesterday, Steam said, haha, fuck you, because they released the one game I've actually been waiting for over 20 years.
System Shock.
Jagged Alliance 3. Some of you guys may not have ever heard of this, but okay, way back in the way back days of the old PC DOS era, there was a game called Jagged Alliance, and it involved a semi-simulation type game where you basically hired groups of mercenaries who had individual personalities to retake a island for this doctor, and you had to accomplish little missions within the game. There was some role-playing elements. The characters would speak, which was pretty novel back at the time, because this was, 90s PC gaming. and it was just a great game. It was super fun. It was super addictive. It's one of the few games back in the 90s I actually finished. And then several years later, they came out with Jagged Alliance 2, which blew that up even bigger, with more characters, more storylines, bigger plots, bigger maps, more shit to blow up, more stuff to talk to, more in-game elements. And that was a super duper fun game. And then for some reason, the company that made it shut down. I forget what it was back at the time, but a whole bunch of kind of games came out that were basically using the Jagged Alliance name to try to pull you in, like Jagged Alliance Wildfire and all this other crap that weren't actually Jagged Alliance games. I mean, they were, but they were like Jagged Alliance if made by somebody who had not really ever actually played the original and had heard the name, and somebody just kind of like threw them the comic book version of the game. But this one, Jagged Alliance 3, is actually made by the same guy, Tim Curry or Jim Curry, whatever his name is, Tom Curry, something Curry, who worked on the first two. So it's basically his baby. And it's got all new graphics. It has a lot of the same characters from the first game. The voices are not the same anymore because those voice actors are long gone for whatever reason. But it does have all the popular characters are back, like Ivan the Russian. But yeah, I spent, I think, what is it? I got 10 hours on that game right now. I think I bought the game like sometime in the afternoon, and I literally was on it until like 5 a.m. in the morning. And it was so much fun. If you like if you like tactical turn-based strategy with really cool characters, progression, and a hell of a big storyline, then yeah, I would go Jagged Alliance 3. If you could get the old Jagged Alliance games to run on your PC, I would recommend those even more. But
which, fortunately, I think Good Old Games does a lot of the legwork in getting those to run.
Yeah, I think so. I haven't tried the GOG version of them. I do have the original Jagged Alliance games on Steam, and they sort of kind of work if you hold your mouth the right way on a Thursday. But
that's only in the Northern Hemisphere.
Yeah, only in the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah, I'm down in the South, so I kind of have to like cross my leg the right way and put one toe up and one toe down. Haha, George Dillman reference if you get that.
Well, on the plus side, though, the previous two Jagged Alliance games are about 99 cents a piece on GOG right now, so you're not exactly going to be losing a lot of money on them.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I mean, if you play them for less than an hour, then you can always refund them by saying these games suck, they don't work. So, let me shout out to our chat really quick. Let me see. Meteor Advocate Timon. Hey, it's good to see you, bud. Hello, Brazil. Rune Knight. Hey, bud. Been a while. John Harrison. Yeah. 70s and 80s and 90s were the peak of Western civilization. It's been downhill since. Yeah, they are. Am I saying I don't believe the first American winner of the Kumite, Frank Dukes? No, he's complete bullshit. He's complete bullshit.
I loved the movie Bloodsport growing up.
I did too.
Come on.
I watched Bloodsport in the theaters back when I was a kid, and yeah, I loved the shit out of that movie, and that pretty much catapulted Jean-Claude Van Damme into superstardom. But yeah, Frank Duke's a fucking liar. I mean, he's a well-proven.
Wasn't it?
Who?
You mean to tell me that it wasn't Street Fighter?
No. It was we want to be Street Fighter, but we're not.
Now, don't get me wrong. Do I believe there are, in fact, underground fights all over the world?
There are.
I don't just believe it. I'm well aware of it. However, that doesn't mean he was in it or that he learned the dim mak or any of those things.
No, all that stuff's been disproven.
But he does lie a lot, and ninjas would be good at lying.
Yeah. Well, like good old Ashita Kim. You guys don't know who that is, do you?
I'm terrible with names. So
Oh my god. Okay.
I'll bet you
My
they're
knowledge-
Asian.
My knowledge of Bullshido is like vast and overwhelming. Yeah, because you had so many farces back in the day. You had Frank Dukes, of course, but he was actually a later farce. But you had guys like Stephen K. Hayes.
Yeah, I was going to bring up Stephen Hayes.
Yeah, Stephen K. Hayes, who supposedly learned ninjutsu from Dr. Masaki Hatsumi, who, is supposed to be the, I don't know, it's like 34th Grandmaster of Togakuri Ryu Ninjutsu. Yeah, and then you had Ashita Kim, who actually took a Japanese first name and then a Korean surname for some reason because they sounded Asian, but he's actually some dude from Florida, and yeah, he put out all these deadly ninja secrets of invisibility and he tried to convince people that he could levitate and all this other stuff. What?
The far distant land, the long lost histories of Florida.
Look, Florida does have its own fighting styles. They are quite powerful. They're just not as sophisticated and ancient as that.
Well, it's just looking for the reigning championship title of Florida Man, and it's just a series of stories about how they're all trying to one up each other to become like the greatest Florida Man ever.
Yeah, that's more what the Kumite is really about. See, is the contest for Supreme Florida Man, and we do hold it. We hold semifinals, once every quarter, and the finals once a year.
Yeah, I have somebody who should be a contestant in that here.
Variant of the League of Shadows re-emerging in The Dark Knight Rises, now under the apparent leadership of Bane, a psychotic beefcake who would be in agony if not for the constant supply of drugs he's huffing.
So when did the nut take over the nut house?
A miracle anesthetic that relieves his pain, increases his pain tolerance in general, while also making him resistant to exhaustion. That's right, he's basically a high-functioning crackhead.
There you go.
I was born into the meth.
You are really using it.
Like a good parody of Fist of the North Star with someone traveling to the Florida dojo.
Oh god!
To master the art of crack fu.
Crack fu.
Meth of the Florida State.
Yes.
You got to understand how deeply embedded into our mythology and folklore these ideas are.
I mean, that's the one guy I wouldn't fuck with is Florida Man. Every time
he stands in a hurricane shooting at it while throwing alligators through the window.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus, I mean, didn't they have that thing like you could look up your birth date and see what Florida Man story was going on at the same time?
One of the really funny things about that is actually that Florida doesn't have a higher proportion of weird ass shit happening. What they have is laxer laws on how the news gets reported.
Oh no.
So that these stories get into the news. Weird ass shit like that is actually happening all over the country all the time.
What the hell? Oh no. Jim. What is this? No. All right, I'm gonna post this. Hang on. As soon as I finish laughing. Here you go, guys.
Oh my god!
It's from the Monty Python book.
The secret Welsh art of self-defense. I wish we had Greg on here because I'd get him to read this. Here, hang on. Let me get. Let me see if I can find Lord Baphomet over there to read it. Lord Baphomet.
That would be pronounced Yapgoch, wouldn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, something like
that.
The
double L is actually no, it's clap because it's a flu sound. Clapgoch.
Oh, okay.
If you sound like you're dying of pneumonia or something, or gargling snot, then yeah, that's Welsh pretty much.
I've got Lord Baphomet over here. He's gonna read it for us. Lord Baphomet, if you wouldn't mind, would you take it away?
Shut up, T-shirt. I've got this already. Fear no man. I'll make you a master of Lapgoch, the secret Welsh art of self-defense that requires no intelligence, strength, or physical courage. The fantastic secrets of the secret world-famous method of self-defense, kept secret for centuries because of their deadly power to maim, kill, smash, batter, fracture, crush, dismember, crack, disembowel, cripple, snap, and harm, are now revealed to you in the English language by a Lapgoch master at his own risk, provided you promise to maim, crush, disembowel, and so on only in self-defense. And now back to you, T-shirt, you wimp.
Thanks, Lord Baphomet.
So the funniest part to me, and all of it's ridiculous, but requiring no intelligence, strength, or physical courage is great. But the funniest part is the use of the two words "secret" and "world famous" right next to each other. Like, which of these two mutually exclusive things is it?
I mean, you know. I guess Conor McGregor didn't know Lapgoch. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gotten his ass kicked by Dustin Poirier so many times.
Well, he's Irish,
McGregor is not Welsh.
That's true. That's true. He's Irish.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, the Irish are really, really tired of hearing people call him the pride of Ireland. Because at this point, they're like, no, he doesn't represent us. We're all not that psychotic.
And their primary martial art is shillelagh, and he doesn't carry a stick. So
True. True. I mean, I wouldn't want to fight him, but still.
All the Scots.
No, he's not. He's in way better shape than I am, but I outweigh him by over 100 pounds, so he better be a lot better than me. That's all I'm saying.
Well, he's primarily a striker, so I guess, once you get a hold of him, if you can wrestle him to the ground and lay on top of him for a little bit, he's kind of skinny, so you might give up eventually.
Also, body mass, to a certain extent, as I'm sure you're aware, has a lot to do with absorbing the blows, right? Big, muscular people can take a pounding longer than the little guys.
Is that what my girlfriend keeps saying that?
Exactly. In my experience, all else being equal, the big guy wins. In fact, all else being way unequal until the skill levels just get so insanely different, the big guy wins the fight a lot of the time.
Well, unfortunately, we're not in the wonderful 90s anymore. Otherwise, we could have gone back and we could have watched Pride FC from Japan and seen those exact freak show matches in action.
Yep. Or like the first UFC where they didn't have any weight classes or anything.
That's when I followed that, when like Tank Abbott could just go in there and like headbutt someone to death.
Yeah. But the nice thing is Pride FC was like, they were always putting on those freak show matches. So you'd end up with dudes like Chong Man Hoi, who is like 7'2", 7'5" Korean dude who actually can fight, going up against like 5'9", like Daijiro, what's his name? I forget his name, Matsumi or something, but yeah, and Daijiro actually whooped his ass. So with a knee bar, I think.
Like McGregor is 5'9" and 157 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, I would not necessarily, well, I would enjoy the fight because I'm weird, but I'd probably end up hurt. But as long as I was willing to get hurt, I'd have a chance. And it's not like I'm saying that I'm super skilled. I'm just saying that kind of a weight and reach difference makes a lot more difference than people realize.
Yeah, it does.
Now, on the other hand, you put me in the ring with one of the heavyweights, I'm gonna get my head kicked in.
Now, I guarantee you put me in the ring against like Rose Namajunas. It doesn't matter how much she weighs. I'm gonna let her wail on my ass. Or actually, I'm gonna let her grapple me. I will grapple.
Oh no, you're too good for me.
Oh no!
Oh no!
No, you're going to put me in a submission hold. No, I have to stop you from moving.
Lock.
Oh no! Let me.
Oh no! Your thighs are wrapped around my head.
Oh no! Let me roll around on the ground with you for a little bit. Yes.
The real appeal of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh God,
And we're back to the spandex pants. I just got to say, we've come full circle.
Napoleon Blown Apart, who is a really great channel that you should watch, which absolutely makes him no money because YouTube has, basically beat the shit out of him for all of the copyright stuff. Did a really great examination of that. He put this in such a way as he put it into Street Fighter terms, what the deal is with Japanese and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He said, imagine if Ryu, the Japanese guy, went to Brazil and taught Blanca how to throw Hadokens. And then Blanca took the Hadoken and changed the color to green and then started calling the Hadoken the Brazilian Blanca Hadoken.
Well, one of the interesting things about BJJ is it's got a very niche application, but they have kind of decided that, oh, it's the realist martial art and every fight in the real world goes to the ground. I'm like,
no, it doesn't.
Only if you really want to get badly hurt.
Yeah.
Like, are you telling me every fight you've ever been in has been on clean ground with only one opponent?
No.
Because going to the ground is a quick way to die in every fight I've been in.
Yeah, pretty much. I thought it was kind of funny because the school that I'm actually the last school I trained in was Muzojiki Den Eishin Ryu swordsmanship. So my sensei had a school, and the Gracies came over there at one point, or I shouldn't say. And then it's not the Gracies themselves; it was their representatives. They came to his dojo and threw down the Gracie challenge. Like, hey, you know what? Let me put you in a hold and see if you can break it. And if you can't, then you have to learn our Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, that was the Gracie challenge. It literally was. Let me put you in a hold and see if you can break it. So Sensei said, well, we're a sword school. So I tell you what, why don't I get my sword and you can pick a sword out if you like. And if you can get me in a hold on the ground while I have my sword, then we'll call you the winner.
Yeah.
They didn't go for that.
Calling you the winner when we start with you in the position that is most favorable to you under the conditions that are most favorable to you is a little disingenuous.
A little bullshit. Actually, the whole Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu thing is kind of disingenuous because the guy who, the grandmaster who learned it from a Japanese judoka, and started calling it Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he was challenged by another Japanese judoka named Kimura. Like, the literal guy, the Kimura arm lock is named after. Mm-hmm. So in a stadium in Brazil, the two of those guys, they fought in front of all these people in Brazil, and Kimura put Rorion Gracie in the Kimura arm lock, and he dislocated his shoulder and arm because Gracie refused to tap out. So effectively, yeah, Kimura won, but Gracie said, no, I won because I never tapped out, and I consider it a moral victory.
But you never got the other guy in a hold, so...
Yeah.
You can't win a fight unless you win a fight. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, it's some win. I won the fight, but I had my shoulder dislocated.
Now, that's possible if the fight isn't just about being put in a hold or whatever. I have, in fact, won a fight with my shoulder dislocated, but that's because I hit the guy in the head and he fell over.
Well, that's different, yeah. I mean, if Rorion had gotten up and then proceeded to wail on Kimura until he went unconscious, then it would have been like, okay, yeah, you won. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Not the same thing though. When you're like, oh, I can't fucking move, but I win. No, sorry.
Stick to Krav Maga, the gentle art of kicking people repeatedly in the balls.
There are some really cool. There are some useful techniques in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
There absolutely are, and I'm not saying it's
the guard itself, the quote unquote Gracie guard, is really useful if you've gotten yourself into that really bad position to begin with. Now, a lot of your training should avoid letting you get into that position. But,
that would be my first thing. It'd be like kind of like if I'm in this position, something has already gone wrong. But,
right. Now, don't get me wrong. Things will go wrong, and having that in your toolbox for when things have gone horribly wrong is good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a tool in a very big toolbox.
Yeah, but if your stand-up game is already really strong, then the ground game never comes into play. So
right.
Which is
right, especially if you've practiced standing grappling and standing escapes and standing throws.
Yeah.
Because then you know how to counter the maneuvers he's using to try to put you on the ground.
Right. Which I have actually, because I have an Aikido background, which, say what you will about Aikido and fake Steven Seagal, but there is some actual useful application to some of that, which actually translated really well when I started learning Aiki Jiu-Jitsu, which is actual Japanese Jiu-Jitsu.
Right. There are some useful applications to Aikido, I agree. The only thing you have to do if you want to make use of them is pressure test them instead of just accepting them as rote.
Right. For sure. Now, could I win a fight against Steven Seagal? Maybe. I mean, yeah, he's definitely got a height advantage on me, and at this point, I don't know about a weight advantage. We're maybe close to the same weight, but I figure if my cardio is just slightly better, I could just run away from him for about 20 minutes and let him gas himself, and then maybe I can go in and take him out.
Problem with Seagal is we honestly have no gauge of how skillful he might actually be, because he's another one of those fraudsters that has done this and that and this and that he never actually did. You know?
Yep.
So
and the sad thing is I actually used to train at his school, Tenshin Dojo. I trained under his top student, Haruo Matsuoka Sensei. So
yeah, I used to like some of his movies early on, but then I was like, wait. Some of the techniques he shows in the earlier stuff, the specific Aikijutsu rather than Aikido techniques, like setting up the entering strike to put them off, striking to put them off balance for the throw, is very reasonable. But we don't really know how good he was.
John, yeah, Rochambeau, we kick each other in the balls until someone gives up. I go first.
Yeah, it makes me think of the martial artists who do that whole iron groin thing.
Oh yeah, I've seen those. Oh my
Fucking
God,
crazy.
I mean, whatever floats your boat, buddy. If I expect to get kicked in the balls that much, my defense sucks to begin with.
I don't think your boat would ever float again after that.
Yeah, nothing would float. Your testicles wouldn't.
It'll float down here.
By the way, this is not so much this is just a suggestion, not an actual commandment or anything. But if you guys out there in the audience noticed, we have those cool buttons on our channel now. See, if you look down at the bottom of the chat, it says it's got the little show your support for T-shirted historian thing. You can push that, and you can either get a super sticker or a super chat, and we'll definitely highlight and read your message out, no matter how embarrassing it is. Well, within reason. I mean, I don't want to, get my channel shut down, but
how dare you try to be reasonable?
I know. And pretty soon I'm going to start putting in links so that whenever you do throw in a super chat or a super sticker, you can select one of your favorite memories that we usually show here, like one of my favorites, like this one.
This motherfucker eating bees! Wait, no, it's not true, Right.
Yes, like that one, or
God damn!
Or
fuck you!
And then there's Ironcaster's favorite. What's that?
No Fat Geralt.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll do Fat Geralt, but this is Ironcaster's favorite, I think.
Come with me to Monkey Land.
I don't want to go to Monkey Land.
Come with me to Monkey Land.
No.
Yes. No. And then of course everybody's favorite, Fat Geralt. We always laugh at Fat Geralt. Fat Geralt's funny. And we just added this one.
Friendo.
So, yeah. We'll see. Oh, Mercurius. Hey, thank you. Look at that. There we go. Thank you. First. Yes. First person. Yay. Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're going to give him an ego.
Yes. Well, I like the guy. How do I have the benefits of monetization with only 742 subscribers? Did YouTube lower the requirements? Okay. I'm not fully monetized yet, Cardinal Sin. The goal is still to get 1,000 subs, which we're 3 years in and still haven't made it, but we're getting there. But thanks to YouTube's current policies, when you hit 500 subs and you have so many watch hours, you will get eventually at some point, because it took forever, like a month, for them to offer me super chats and super stickers. So, and memberships. And I am working on stuff for our memberships. I just have to figure out what we need to do, what we should be doing for members, because I don't know how much you guys really want to do. I mean, does a private chat with me really sound like something you would want to pay money for? I mean,
they like to listen to you talk, so it's not impossible.
It's not impossible. I mean, maybe my fans are that way, but I don't know. And I would like to, by the way, thank our audience and our fans, because the guys have been sticking with us for all these years. Thank you, because you guys are real troopers, and I do appreciate you. I do appreciate your support. I really and truly do.
If T-shirt can get to 1,000 subscribers, he will read through the rulebook for Fatal.
Oh my God!
Out loud in a single stream.
I don't do that.
I'd have to demonetize my stream.
Yeah, I'm hoping to hit 500 subscribers over on my YouTube sometime this year. But, like I said, I've got mostly jokes and world building, so I don't know if people are as interested.
Well, you don't have any. I guess you're kind of like me. You don't have any really controversial opinions or something. I mean, you have to say something like, "Hell, I don't know what to say." If I knew what to say, I'd have already said it and had 1 million subscribers already. So
fair,
I mean, seriously. Hey, X-Wing. Hey, Don McDouglas. It's good to see you. And we did. By the way, we had Don McDouglas and we had John A. Douglas. John A. Douglas, who I need to get on the show one of these days. Desperately, because this guy's really fun to read up on Twitter, but he's also got some really good opinions overall, and I like him. So. Also, he's got a bigger channel than me, but everybody has
Cardinals.
I don't have a bigger channel than you. I have.
See Cardinal Sin's statements on what kind of things to offer.
Yeah, early access to content. Well, I don't really have any new content that you could get early access to, because I usually go live stream everything. So, oh, Aaron says I'm buffering. Am I buffering?
Buff on, buff off.
Buff off. Discord channel. I don't want to build a Discord.
Come on my Discord.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I'll share one with Grim and just, make like a sub Discord on his Discord. Like, hi, this is T-shirt Spot.
Yeah, he's never here.
He's never here, but you can come see. Watch parties on Cosme. That sounds vaguely illegal, but
what about?
I don't know. I've got a Discord channel, a Patreon, early access to content, all that. It hasn't really helped me a whole lot. So
I don't have a Patreon, and the reason is because it's kind of like I don't know what I would offer anybody. It'd be kind of like we'd have one membership level, and it would be like hi, thanks for supporting me, appreciate it.
Give people as many options. Will totally do that. Yeah, give people options to support you and say, there might be something here in the future, but you can just sub here to support me. Give people as many options as possible for that.
Yeah.
Patreon is also good for aggregating what you do everywhere else to people who are most engaged with what you do. So, just drop your links to your blogs and videos and whatever else.
It's a cow stab.
Oh my gosh. I actually link I put some of my content on my Patreon and then link to it through my website rather than the other way around because it's a great hosting spot for written content.
Oh, mystery box tier. You might get something or might not. What's in the box? Nothing! Absolutely nothing! Stupid!
Great. Let's follow the video game loot box thing. Let's do that.
That would be, yeah. You just have like the World Council getting up on my ass. T-shirt. We understand that you have been monetizing loot boxes. Those are a no-no. Okay, well, I was gonna put something in it. I got these Calorie Mate bars. You want some?
No, guys, I hear you. We're selling Gamer Girl farts.
Hot tip: never do anything until people threaten you with violence to do it. Creates demand. Yeah, there you go. That's always good. That's good advice. Yeah.
I will breathe in a Ziploc bag, and we can mail them out. T.
Yeah. I mean, I could fart in a jar and send you guys samples or something if you really want.
There was someone that sold on eBay air from a Kanye West concert.
The sad thing is, I'm sure people actually bought it.
Oh, I have no doubt. This was also about a decade ago.
Yeah, back when people were selling their souls and used panties and things on eBay.
Yeah,
before
you sell your bathwater.
I
I couldn't even sell my bathwater because I shower. So, you want my shower water? It's like, yeah, you can have some hair in there too. I'm sure you can have nice, DNA in there. So.
There's always someone, so don't.
Yeah, that would be a reason I wouldn't do any of these things. I don't want them to have my DNA. Thanks.
Oh God, Ironcaster, what is this? Bagged air from Kanye West concert. Are you shitting me?
2015. So it was before everybody knew he was insane.
No, this was after him going, George Bush doesn't care about black people.
Was this before or after he had himself on a cross as Jesus?
I have no idea.
Huh.
90 bidders drove the price tag over $60,000.
But the question is, did they buy it, right? Because you always read these stories about shit on eBay that sells at ridiculous prices and it's crazy stuff, but it's all burner accounts that are just bidding it up.
True.
Yeah, but if they auctioned it, then didn't somebody have to pay the price at the end?
Somebody did.
I don't think you get a buy strike. It's been a long time since I've done the eBay thing. Is that still how it works? Oh, you got a non-payment strike. That's how it was back in the day.
Right. And if it's a burner account, then obviously that doesn't matter. Fair enough. I don't know anything about it.
Personally, I get tired of people who sell shit on eBay and it's just for way too much money. And I'm just kind of like, I really wanted this, but I really don't want to pay my first child in order to get it.
Let me show you my last eBay strikeout tee. Peter Gabriel's Melt, number 3. It was supposed to be vinyl, and I got this.
You got a CD?
I got a CD.
I'd buy the CD from you.
If anybody wants this, you got it. You got it. I'll talk to you off the air. Coming your way.
Yeah.
I was going to say self-addressed stamped envelope, and I'll send it out to somebody. But
will do.
When you held it up, I thought it was Nicolas Cage.
I thought it was. I thought it was.
My brain.
I thought it was Mel Gibson as Mac Rockatansky at first.
No.
That's American Psycho.
My brain just supplied the line, riffing off of Europe. It's the vinyl countdown.
It's still sealed and everything. So
nice.
I'm pissed at eBay. They had pictures of the record. This is what I got.
Oh, hey, you know what? I can trade you, Ryan, because I got a vinyl of Kavinsky, and I could send that to you. And I don't need it because I was supposed to be getting the CD. Are you a big fan of the Night Call?
I am a big But if you have someone that is a fan, obviously, I'd rather it go to a fan. But no, if you want to trade, that's fine. Come on, guys. You know, I am stuck in the 70s through like 97-ish. It has to be something really good that's modern. You guys are going to cruise. Do you want to know my modern band choice if I had to pick a number one?
Go on.
Aerosmith.
Oh, it's the Killers. But I'm such a Brandon Flowers mark. I will drop right now.
I should have a Teespring store or something and sell Baphomet plushies. That's an idea.
Don't sell T-shirts.
Even though I'm the T-shirted historian.
Like I said last time, you should sell a T-shirt with a picture of a T-shirt on it.
There you go.
And a history book. I could mock something up real quick for you.
I actually, well, you know, when I was setting up my membership stuff, I had to name all my tiers, and I couldn't think of names, so I ended up calling it like small T-shirt, medium T-shirt, large T-shirt. So I mean,
that makes sense.
I mean,
and then you make top tier historian sized.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was thinking about, was historian size.
No. See, the second to highest tier is historic, and then the highest tier is prehistoric because dinosaurs.
That's an idea too, even. Save the vinyls are being hunted into extinction. Oh my gosh.
Oh, now that's a TTRPG hook right there.
It totally is. Oh, there is one thing, and I don't think we'll get copyright claim for this. Hang on. Let's do this real quick, because this is worth talking about.
You tell.
Godzilla.
We're getting
Minus
copyright claimed.
Hey, I'm excited.
Roar in there. Toho demands you pay them about 38 cents.
Yeah, they probably will. It's like Toho will be like, "Hey, you fork out cash. You use Godzilla Raw. give us money. Give us money."
But that was like a trailer. That was us advertising for them.
No, I don't give shit.
Doesn't matter.
You must use.
Go, Jiro, go.
I'm just glad that Godzilla looks like Godzilla again. You know.
Yes. Yeah.
You'll
Hopefully,
probably get copyright. Probably get a copyright claim that's just a link to the Godzilla Roar.
Probably. I mean, I like YouTube. You know, a lot of people are like, you know, jumping ship to jump on other channels and other things. You know, like, you know, Kick or whatever. And I'm just kind of like, well, you know, my whole deal is, you leave the party with the girl you came in there with, and by golly, I came in here with YouTube. I'm going to stick with it.
I'm actually looking, given the stuff going on over at Twitch, I'm looking at moving some of my stuff that I was doing on Twitch over to my YouTube channel. So I don't know.
Yeah, I should probably do something with Twitch, but it's kind of like, I don't know what kind of audience I would have on Twitch.
Well, I would say if nothing else, look into the multi-streaming.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to multi-stream to multiple places.
We can multi-stream to Zuckerberger.
Which I think once you get to a certain point on Twitch, at least, it used to be where you couldn't multi-stream if you were an affiliate or partner.
Yeah.
And now that you have the supers, I don't know that you would want to necessarily split the opportunity for someone to toss you a couple of bucks for a super chat or a super sticker. You know?
Especially since the Twitch version of it, if I understand correctly, they take a transaction fee before they take their split, or is it the other way around? Can't remember.
I haven't actually gotten a payment from YouTube yet, but I'm very eager to get one next month, maybe.
X-Wing, I can't seem to multi-stream to Kick. I did set up an account, but it never connects. But yeah, Twitch gets funny about multi-streaming after you get to a certain level, like you said. You can stream to Twitter now, I think. But I don't know how you set that up.
I'd like
Yeah,
to.
I don't think that's gonna. Given how Twitter is not operating as well as it perhaps ought to these days, I don't know how reasonable that is to play with. Like half the stuff I'm doing on social media is moving over to Threads.
Yeah, and Mercurius, yeah, Rumble, Odyssey, all that. I mean, there's tons of other channels out there. There are tons of other services, but you know, kind of like I said, you know, YouTube is kind of like where I started. It's where most of my friends started. It's kind of, I'm just gonna stay with YouTube until they either get sick of me and decide they're gonna shut the channel down or demonetize me or something, and at which point then I'll have to review my options. But for now, it seems to make sense just to stay here and tough it out and see where we're going to go with it. Because I figure if I can make it here on YouTube, I could probably make it on all the other channels.
The thing about the YouTube is that it's been stable and if not uncontroversial, the least controversial of some of the platforms for the things they're pulling.
It's had its moments.
Sure. But it's not currently having them, unlike some of the other platforms that are currently having a series of moments.
Yeah, Twitch is the one I hear that's being lambasted the hardest right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, Twitch is getting hammered by Kick.
Yeah,
how long that will last, I don't know. Sorry,
yeah, right. A bunch of Twitch users wound up jumping ship over to Kick, and that seems to be doing pretty well right now. I haven't looked yet myself, but just kind of based on what everyone was talking about 3-4 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I'm friends with a reasonable VTuber, and she jumped over to Kick just because, from a money perspective, there seems to be more friendliness to the creators there. So,
yeah, a lot of these organizations do not seem to understand that their entire income depends upon all the people creating the content, that they are literally just a platform. It's the same problem that, to touch on the news about the writer's strike and the actor's strike, it's the exact same mindset. The studios think they're doing this big thing. The platforms think they're doing this big thing. They don't understand that the dependency goes the other way. That depend on the writers, the creators, the actors, the people who are making content for other people to view.
Yeah, and vice versa too. It also depends on the consumers, because if we don't like what you're putting out, then we're not going to pay for it.
Right, absolutely. So you have got to make sure that you are as friendly as possible to the creators and the consumers, and maybe a little less friendly to the people who are just fronting for the platform to begin with. Just a thought.
It's a game. Everything is a game, and I guess that's why the name of the stream is so many games, so little time. So, which game do you want to play? And speaking of games, I've got a game to play tomorrow. I'm going to be running Darwin's World here on this channel with Grim Jim in attendance.
I need to take a look at Darwin's World, apparently. So
you need to come watch the stream. Come hang out with us. Join the game if you want to.
I would. Unfortunately, I have my one paid game tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, well, yeah. If it's paid, then yeah, you got to be there.
Yeah, I get paid to run Mutants and Masterminds once a week for a group of people. Hopefully, I'll be able to get a few more paid games on my roster.
By the way, Grim, I did not catch the stream you guys were supposed to have yesterday. How did that go?
We didn't do it because we were having technical problems. But I don't want to bitch and complain too much because they should still give us a promo slot. So, in compensation. But yeah, we can't seem to stream from the Tabletopless account to that, no matter what we try. So,
wow,
I don't know.
That's just
it sucks.
Yeah, that sucks. Take care, X-Wing. Cardinal Sin asks me the question. T-shirt historian, what's Darwin's World about? Well, Darwin's World is a D20 modern-based post-apocalyptic role-playing game. I mean, it's using the D20 modern engine, but everything about it is pretty much custom to it, and it's not like the cutesy, funny Gamma World, mutation make you grow funny wings and do funny things like fart level of silliness. In Darwin's World, if you get exposed to radiation, you get cancer and autism and die. I mean, and I'm not even kidding. Autism is a mutation.
Fools you. The joke's on you. I already have one of this. I'm just...
Yeah. Darwin's World is horrifically realistic, nasty, brutish, post-apocalyptic role-playing where radiation is deadly, disease is deadly, mutants are deadly and tend to have very short lifespans. And if you are mutated to some degree, chances are you're living with all kinds of uncomfortable deformities to go along with whatever superpower you might think you get from it. And then on top of that, there's it's laid over a world that was super duper hyper advanced at one point, to where they had human-like androids. They had cities that were domed and protected from the environment, a la Judge Dredd, and things like that. But yeah, the game concerns itself with just kind of like everyday survival. You have to have enough water to survive every single day. You have to have enough food to survive every single day. You may not have enough ammunition to survive. Are your skills going to be enough to enable you to make it? Do you dare fight that rampaging mutant monster, or will it eat your whole party?
Yeah, that's like kind of a genre mix of post-apocalyptic with post-apocalyptic survival horror, as opposed to just straight post-apoc. Because gritty realism very often takes you into the survival horror realm. I think that's pretty cool. I ran a GURPS campaign that was kind of halfway between the goofy gonzo-ness of Gamma World and what you're describing.
Yeah. And it's not that I don't like Gamma World. I think Gamma World is cute and it's funny, and I've played under James Ward, and James Ward killed me. So
nice.
So yeah, I mean, I appreciate it. It's definitely different and lighthearted, and kind of like it's like Apocalypse Light.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Darwin's World is, we took the training wheels off of Gamma World and said, fuck you.
Right.
So I guess it's the difference between, another way of putting it is, it's the difference between playing, something, vaguely cute and fun like Legend of Zelda, and then playing a game where you will be asked to hammer nails with your flaccid penis, a la Dark Souls.
Ow! Thanks for that image.
There you go.
I'm a finishing nails expert.
So there you go. But we have a lot of fun with it. I mean, 3 British guys traveling through, post-apocalyptic America it's hilarious. It's fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
It's hard to tell the difference from current America, to be honest.
Cardinal Sin, you want me to drop my tip jar link?
That doesn't really surprise me, Grim.
Well, I've got the cash thing down there in the corner, but if you'll want my actual tip jar, yeah. If for some reason you decide that you don't want to give YouTube any money, then this is my actual tip jar link from Stream Elements. And I always appreciate a tip or two. And yes, Cardinal Sin, we do need to set up a time for Lord Baphomet to come visit your channel because I think he'd have a great time. So you let me know when's good for you, and I'll make sure the goat makes it. And by the way, Jack, have you ever seen Lord Baphomet?
Seen? No, just heard.
I don't think you've seen this one.
Are you familiar with all of the mythological reference and origin of Baphomet?
I am, and actually, I've read a little bit of Eliphaz Levi and a little bit of Crowley. So
okay,
but this
Baphomet really kind of first popped up in the accusations against the Templars.
Yes, that's right. But this one is a little bit more cute and cuddly, as you'll see.
What can I say? I like everybody. Everyone is welcome here. Come on down, sign the contracts. We've got a spot for you here. We don't discriminate. We treat everybody equally down here in hell. This has been your Lord Baphomet telling you, stop playing with dice. Go play with some boobies or something.
There you go.
But such a kind,
I like dice
evil
and
lord.
boobies.
Yes. Well, unless you're Grim, and then you get both in the same show. We can't all be that lucky.
Fair.
Yeah. And I'm sure Grim hates it every single week, having to get up there on Wednesday night and just go, here I am again playing for these absolutely gorgeous women who are showing me all their parts and doing things with them.
Fucking titties.
I mean,
I have to think about crunching numbers.
Yeah. I'm too busy setting up my next scenario to look at these wonderful gazongas in front of me.
That is actually true and annoying as hell.
I'm sorry, Grim. I just can't feel sorry for you. I'm sorry, I can't.
It's a living.
Find a job you love, and you never work a day in your life. But
definitely
the
that
inverse
one.
of that is that the things you love become work. So yeah.
And then, sadly, very often you love them just a little less.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Well, that's why I don't paint miniatures for money, because it's too much like work.
I don't have the tiny little fine motor control to paint freaking miniatures.
Shut up, Ryan David.
I'm gonna clip where you said that's why I don't paint miniatures. End.
See, this is why I decided to start buying little anime girl figures.
Oh, they're pre-painted.
Yeah, these are like the model kits where they are fully assembled. I'm just composing them.
Nice. I don't have that kind of money, but too busy.
I was cleaning up. I found 2 entire bags of unassembled, very large miniatures that have never been opened, that are from mansions,
and will never get
large
painted.
miniatures.
They're over there.
Sounds like a contradiction in terms.
You ask my ex-wife.
I do have my Cthulhu to scale, to 32 millimeter scale Cthulhu. That's calling that a miniature is like a joke, but
right.
By definition, when you have a large miniature, it's basically just a medium.
Yeah. I mean, it's the size of a small infant or something, but.
Hey, I just saw something. I just saw something maddening.
What?
That's game related. I just saw something maddening that's game related.
Oh, what's that?
An advert popped up in my Facebook stream, offering to teach you to do silly character voices for $50.
What?
Specifically for your games.
I don't need some doofus's crash course on how to do that.
I've got to give them credit for the grift, though. I mean, how hard is it to do a silly voice?
I charge less than that.
Some people may need the help.
There's only so much help you can give somebody if they're not naturally funny on their own.
The one thing I am glad is that apparently all of humanity decided there is one dwarf.
I still insist dwarves should be Welsh.
Oh God, no! You'd never understand.
Welsh dwarves actually do make more. Welsh dwarves do make more sense than Scottish dwarves. First of all, second of all, the guy who played Gimli is Welsh. Third of all,
true.
Doing a Scottish accent humorously enough. And a lot of dwarves ought to sound Scandinavian.
And nobody knows what Scandinavians sound like. They don't want to sound like the Swedish chef because they don't think it's intimidating enough. However,
in New York.
Yeah.
No, sounds like this. You still give it the gravel, right? It sounds a lot like Arnold because you put the X in the orc.
No, I tell you what. I think from now on, I'm just going to have all my elves sound like bored people from Berlin. You know, we're going to go hang out in the forest, and then we're going to go and do snort some lines of cocaine off a latex-clad hooker's arse, and drink a vodka.
That sounds very reasonable, I think. So it's all right.
Yeah, because we live thousands of years, and we're just so bored all the time watching you humans go and fuck each other and kill each other.
That is the whole concept behind the way the Eldar became the way they are, and the arrival of Zinch.
Yeah.
No, Slanesh.
Yeah, you see, it makes more sense when you make them more like this, because then it's more like, hey, we're bored, and, we're just looking at humanity going, look, can we play with this shit? Yeah, how can I find ways to fuck with it?
Good and fun was just Dickens.
And the drow just went to an underground rave and never left.
Please stop.
I mean, if they had to put up with those other guys, can you blame them?
We're doing good when people are telling us to quit. Either we're hitting a nerve, or he's going like, "Please, dear God, I don't want to think of all elves sounding this way."
Gnomes should be Dutch.
Oh my God.
I don't know. If you wanted to go traditional, gnomes are Swiss.
All right. Well, we have people who need to leave, including yourself, sir.
It's true. Who's sir? Where's the sir? My dad's not here.
That would be you. That would be you and Ryan. So let me close things up. Thank you all for hanging out with us today. Sorry if we were like a little, less. Well, I think we were kind of funny overall. A little less, on display than we normally are, because I didn't have a lot of topics. I mean, I'm sorry. Nothing happened this week, really.
We're all tired.
The show got reasonably worse after I hopped on, so it's my fault.
Nah.
I mean, I'm willing to blame him.
Okay.
Fucking Caster.
Yeah, blame the other Indian. You guys can call it like a tribal feud.
I hate those copper skin demons.
But you're
the Southern Indians are the worst ones anyway.
You're right. We are. As both Cherokee and Seminole, meaning I'm Cherokee and Creek, my two native halves hate each other almost as much as they hate white people. So
actually, did you know that's the origin of the Good Lord Willing and the Creek Don't Rise? He wasn't talking about a flood. He was talking about the Creek Indian, the Creek Nation.
He's talking about he's talking about the Muskogee. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
because the Seminole, who are descended from the Muskogee Creek, are the only Native American tribe that never surrendered.
Yeah. Yeah. Because basically they didn't want to go looking around for him in the damn swamp and getting murdered.
Every time they did, they got murdered a lot. Yeah.
Yep.
And I live in a town named after the guy who tried his hardest to kill us. I live in Jacksonville, Florida.
All right.
Jacksonville.
Not after the guy with the one white glove.
In the north.
Yeah, no, that's not what they named it after. Not better, though. Anyway.
All right, guys. Well, thank y'all for hanging out with us this week, and we appreciate y'all. We love you guys, and join us next week. Join us tomorrow when I run Darwin's World, and join us Tuesday when we don't know what we're talking about yet, but we'll have a topic before too long. And
don't worry, guys. It's a fresh week. Who knows what Games Workshop will be doing?
Yeah.
Wow. Old stuff.
Yeah, I'll go anyone in the company. Pick a company. They'll do something.
Yeah, don't worry. It'd probably be Evil Hat Productions. If I'm lucky.
I think Paizo's do, right? They've had too much good press.
Yeah, well,
you really think Evil Hat's going to do something bad?
Yes, they are bad. They're just, Evil Hat. Yeah. They're bad. They're just genuinely bad people. And
Maybe Modiphius will try to up their score.
Oh, yeah. Or Renegade Game Studios.
Oh, that one breaks my heart.
I know. Well, until then, we'll see y'all later.
Au revoir.
On behalf of the staff of the Independent California Motel, I wish you all sweet dreams.
Wake the fuck up, samurai. We have a city to burn.